It's happening. All right, cool. So here we are. Hello, Nick. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Darryl. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Hmm.
Doing good. How's your week been?
Not bad, actually. I think I made a bit of a breakthrough in
Yeah.
terms of,
I know you sent me an email, so tell me about that.
yeah.
What happened?
Well, I seem to be able to sort of. Um, there's a song that I've been sort of looking at for ages, and so it's A, G, D, G, G, A. I was better than this the other day.
Oh, don't worry, it always happens. I believe you.
D, D, E minor, lots of A's, back to G.
And what's the song?
Sold American, Kinky Friedman.
I don't know. What was the breakthrough? What was a bit like before you kind of had it, and then what was
Oh,
happening?
it would have been G,
Okay.
A.
So the changes are getting faster.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And they have been smoother than this, actually. So
Yeah, well, you're probably going to be a bit clunky because one, where you're now suddenly playing in front of me, and two, it's the first time beginning of the lesson. So.
yes.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, you replied to me. I sent an email out about one of my breakthroughs when I was.
And Tommy Emmanuel has become a bit of a hero.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
Yeah, it's not so much his material, it's the man and, of course, his playing and his sense of humour. And anybody who says thanks, Chet, in the middle of a song is sort of, I'll drink to that.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. So,
all right, cool. Well, I'm very happy you had a breakthrough. I've got some stuff that I want us to work through today because it's the last session we're going to do the free thing. I've got something else I'm doing, which I'll talk about at the end, instead of these free kind of things. The next movement of this.
I was going to ask you, so yeah.
Yeah, I've got something else that we're going to do so that you can playing. And there's some things I want to do because we're recording these and people have been using them. And I've had people contacting me saying they're really enjoying learning from these sessions from kind of the YouTube, from YouTube. So I've got some things I want to cover. And then also I want to run through some more finger picking stuff with you, Nick, because I know that's something that you're passionate about. And we'll do that in a little bit. All right, cool. So first thing I'm going to do is this is the last session. So I think it's really important that we do another little song, another easy song to play. And it is boiling hot here in London today. For London standards, it's boiling hot. I mean, it's not by the world's standards, it's not very hot, but for us, it's tropical. I think because we're surrounded by water here, like maybe that makes a difference that we're an island and it makes us more humid. But it's certainly warm here by any standard. So I thought we'd do a kind of country rock song that everyone knows and is not that difficult to play. We're going to learn a little bit of Sweet Home Alabama. All right. And so I'll talk you through the chords and then we'll get playing. We'll just kind of jump straight into this today. So everyone kind of knows that riff. We'll look at how to play that riff towards the end of the session today. So we're going to start with a slightly easier version, but we're going to start with some chords and I'll play you what it's going to sound like to begin with when we play it. So it's going to. Okay. Now this, I want to talk about how it relates to the little chord sheet we've been doing before. So it starts off with your hand in the D sus2 position, which is your first fingers on string 3 here. And then your third finger's on string 2 on fret 3. And just while I remember, Karis, can you, I don't know if you put the link in the video already, but sure. Yeah, cool, thanks. Just in case anyone watching wants to join. So then we've got these, and we'd strum for a D chord. We just strum the bottom 4 strings. Okay, and then that's the first chord. So it's going D as the first chord, and then the next chord, we've left this middle finger free, and it's not to insult anyone who doesn't like your guitar playing. It's actually because we're going to use it to play another note. So we've got these two, we're going to leave them where they are. And if we can, we're going to get this middle finger now to press down fret 3 of string 5. So we're all the way up here. We're on fret number 3 of string 5. And the way I know that's string 5, by the way, is this is string 6 up here. String 5 is the one down, and then frets is counted along. And then we strum 5 of the strings. So I'm going to strum everything apart from the one closest to my face. And on its own, this chord sounds like clunky. So it's like, it's a real contextual chord. If I played this chord on its own, it would just be like a no, cancel. But because it's in where it's in the song, it sounds cool. So, okay, so that's chord 2. So really between chord 1 and chord 2, all we've got is that movement between those two. Now, you could, if you're clever about it, actually leave that finger down the whole time. But it's difficult to do so, because on that first chord, you'll notice we don't even play the 5th string. We just play the 4. So I could leave it down because we're not even playing it yet. The only problem with it, and this is hard, is you would have to be right on the tippy of your finger, like the very tip, because we don't want to touch this D. We don't want to touch this string here, the 4th string. We call it the D string. We don't want to touch it with the unavoidable chubby part of our finger here, right? This is not me fat shaming anyone. We all have it. It's just what's in existence. Okay. So you notice when I'm playing, because even that's a risk. And for me, and I've been playing for a long time, I leave that finger off first. And then I put it on when we change the chord. So if you're watching along with this now, all you're going to do is just change between those 2 chords. And it's just like middle finger off, middle finger on. And you can think of it as practicing the chord, or making mean signs at people that you don't like. Whatever gets you to practice, I say. All right, cool. So that's the first 2 chords. And then chord number 3 is this middle finger again. It moves down to string 6. So don't worry about the rhythm yet. Don't worry about the strumming. Just focus on this left hand. Wax on, wax off, one thing at a time. And wax on, wax off is the, I'm not just saying wax on, wax off. That's Karate Kid, the movie. Or it's like something else in the new Karate Kid movie, the old one from when I was a kid. That one, wax on, wax off. All right, so. All right, cool. And then what's happening with this rhythm? And in fact, before we do that, I just want to check the chords. Nick, can I hear how the chords are sounding for you, just so I can kind of see? Are you on a laptop that you can kind of turn towards your guitar? I mean, your face is beautiful. I just, I'm not teaching your face, so. Okay.
Here we go. Yes. Let me just, if I move that. Okay, so,
Good. Good. All right. Yeah, that's great. So you got the movement. All right. That's all we need. Very good. So let's talk about that rhythm now and what's going on to make it sound like the song. Because once you've got the basic chords down, what makes something song? Oh, sorry, I muted myself there. I meant to mute Nick and I muted myself. Right. So what makes it sound like a song I feel like the world's most new DJ. You know, like DJs, they talk and they do all this stuff behind the scenes that you never see. I'm really bad at that, and I have to like kind of talk to you as I do those things. So when we're doing this, what makes a song sound like the song? Is it having the right chords? Yes, kind of. Most of the time, you can do variations on chords, but the right chords are important. Is it having the right strumming pattern? No. It's not really about the strumming pattern. It's about having the right chords and the right time change for when those chords happen. So what's called harmonic rhythm, which is where the harmony changes, is where the chords change, is what will make it sound like a song. So I'll give you an example. I could play these right chords and make everything change in the wrong place, and it just won't sound like the song really nearly as much at all. Who's getting Sweet Home Alabama from that? If you are, wow. I mean, that's quite a strange one. So the harmonic changes are really important, and I can't ever stress this enough. And so what we're going to do is look at what this change is and then try and just count it for yourself. So I'm going to ask you just to sit here and listen to it a few times and try and think about how you count that. And then I'll give you the answer in a second's time. Okay, so. So my Siri's just getting involved. Seems to happen every week. Okay, so if you didn't get it, what's happening there is we've got 4 beats. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that happens twice. So we've got 2 bars. There's really 8 beats, and I don't know why I went gang sign fully, but this is more comfortable. Okay, so the first bar has 2 chords in. We've got chord number 1 starts on beat 1, so we've got the D, and then this chord here, where I put my middle finger down, we're going to call that a C. Even though I know it's not the C you're used to doing, it's kind of not a C, it's like a fancy C. We can call it expensive C maybe, but that's like a C we're going to put there. So we've got D, C, and then we're going to call this one on the new bar a G, okay? So the first one, the D sus2 is here. That's happening for 2 beats. 1, 2. C happens here, which is where we put our middle finger down. And G happens here, okay? So we're going D, 2, C, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, okay? Now, what we've done is we've done it with the fingers they actually use in the song, but for anyone who's kind of playing along right now and goes, well, I know the D chord, the C chord, and the G chord. Couldn't I just use those chords that I know? Yeah, you could. You absolutely could. So the chords we do in the 2 finger, you can. It wouldn't be the exactly what they played in the song, but it's absolutely correct. Like you could play those and it's going to sound fine. And that's what I mean by having the exact chord they played is less important than changing at the right time. So if you want to play the chords from the 2 finger chords, you want to play some other chords, as long as it's like C major, not C minor, then you'll be fine. Okay, so anyway, back to this. We're going to try and do this in rhythm. We're going to go nice and slow, and we'll just play along. And Nick and Karis, you can join in, and we'll get some rhythm going. So, and it's really just managing that middle finger, which is something I was told to do a lot as a child, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So the middle finger goes down 3, and G, 2, 3. That was pretty quick. We'll go slower. That was very quick. All right, let's do it again. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 2. Wait. Yeah, that is the speed I went. 1, 2, 3, 4. D. 1, 2. C. 2. I know what we'll do. We'll just change between the D and the C for a little bit. Between those on the 1, the 4, the 3, so we get used to that, and then we'll jing in the G. So just 1 is going to be D, on the 3 is the C, back and forth, jamming over it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, D, 2. Middle finger down. 4. Up. 2. Down. Up. Down. I want you to keep going. I'm going to play something else over this. I want you to keep that rhythm going. Da, 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 All right, nice. So now let's look at the change between the C, which is middle finger down on the fifth string, to the G. And we'll just do those two back and forth for 2 beats. Okay. So it's going to go 2, 3, 4. Bam, 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 bam. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. Let's go 3, 4. C. 2 and G. 4. 2. 4. 2 and 6 string. Very nice. All right. So let's begin to put it together. So we're going to do the D with no middle finger on the guitar. Middle finger goes down on that C. And then it moves to this one down here. And if you get confused with the names of the C's and the D's and everything like that, it's normal. It's absolutely normal. You'll get used to it as you go. And if you're watching this video back and you need to go back and remind yourself what the hell I said, that's the beauty of video, and you can replay me saying C, D, and G all day to your heart's content. It's a slightly terrifying thought. All right, let's give this a go, nice and slow. I'll wait till Nick's finished drinking his tea. There you go. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Middle finger down. 4 and G. 2, 3, 4. Whole bar of G. D. Now, then the C. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And C. 2 and. All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is I think we're going to draw this out, just because I want it to be really clear for when anyone's watching. Let's do a text. Let's get real fancy over here and do a text file and then share that screen with you guys. Here we go. All right, so we're going to do new document. This is where, you know, when you're sharing your screen live on Facebook, it's a temptation to get slightly nervous about what could be on the screen. All right, cool. So if we're looking at our bars, we've got 1, 2, and let me make this nice and big. Can you guys see my screen okay? Yes, just needs to be kind of written bigger. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're playing a D here. We're playing the C here, which is where the middle finger goes down first. And then we've got another bar of 1, 2, 3, 4. And that happens with a G. So where this gets slightly confusing is we get into like a rhythm and a pulse of being like, yeah, I'm changing chords every 2 beats, but you're not here. You're only doing that in the first bar, we call it. So it's going to go 1, like we do the D, 2, C, 4, then G is happening for 4 beats and we're rocking out. Otherwise, if you change here and you go back to that D, we are suddenly playing a whole much more complicated piece of music to listen to. All right. So I'm going to leave this up and we'll have another go at it. And I'm going to leave it on the screen just so if I shout like D, you can see where that happens. And we'll go for that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, C, 4, G, 2, 4, and D, 2, C, 4, G, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, C, 4, G, 2, 2, D, 4. All right, cool. So I'm going to stop sharing screen and can I hear it, Nick? How are you getting on with it? Oh, I can't see you anymore. Oh, there we go. I'll unmute you.
Oh my God, I've gone blind.
Oh, there you go. How's it going? Let's hear what you got.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Excellent. All right, good stuff. Very good. So what I really like is you've got really good pulse, and the harmonic. So where the chords are changing, that harmonic rhythm is very good. So the chords changing in the right place. That's exactly how what we're doing is supposed to sound. So very nice.
Thank you.
So what we'll do then is we'll do the slightly more advanced finger picking version now. So we get the real sound. Okay. So we'll talk about that. And this is a choice. So if you're watching this video, you could do this with your fingers, or you could do this with a guitar pick. I'm suggesting that Nick does it with his fingers because last week we were talking about how he's getting really into finger picking. So I'm just going to mute Nick and I'll zoom down to my guitar. All right, so. So what's happening is the left hand we've already done. This over here isn't going to change. What is going to change is everything kind of about the right hand. So we were just strumming one chord at a time before. And so this next bit's going to be really hard if you don't know the left hand down. But if you kind of got the left hand down and you want an extra challenge, you can do this, start doing this picking part with the right hand, and it's going to take your attention away, and that distraction should help the left hand actually have to work harder and learn. And the challenge is good. So if you're like, this is tough, then it's not a problem. That's just kind of life. Right, so thumb is going to pick string 4. And the way we know the string numbers is the one closest to the floor is number 1. The one closest to your face is number 6. If it's not number 6 and you have a different number of strings, either your string has, this is not a guitar, or you have some kind of odd string guitar, or you have a counting problem. So you should have 6 strings and 1 at the floor, 6 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to put our thumb on string number 4. And that's going to play the first note. And in fact, it plays it twice. Dun, 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 dun. And this is where we'll go with this rhythm. I think, like in my head, I'm thinking everyone on earth knows Sweet Home Alabama, but it's entirely possible that people don't. And I'm reminded of the amount of people who older than me will tell me a song that I definitely should know, and I just don't. So maybe I'm assuming here that people don't. And the way that you would learn this if you don't is, like I said in last week's session, is you sing the rhythm until you get it right. So this is going to go dun, dun, da, dun, 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 da, dun. And that first dun, dun happens on string 4. And then the da, dun, which comes right after, is 2 different strings. That's going string 2 and then string 3, which I'm playing string 2 with my middle finger. This one here. And then string 3 is my first finger. So kind of without swearing at the camera, This one is on string 2. This one, the pointer, is on string 3. And it's dun dun da dun 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 da dun 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 da dun. Okay, so that's the beginning part of that riff. Dun dun da dun 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 da dun. And you can just sit there on a loop for that because it's a little groove on its own. So I'm going to play that nice and slow, and I just want you, as you're playing along with me, to get in a loop with it, and we'll just play. And I'll do some real slow ones because sometimes I rush a bit on these. Cool. And anyone watching this, if you're not able to play it as fast as I can, that's normal. Sometimes as a guitar teacher, and we all do it, I might rush a little bit sometimes with those examples, especially when I can't see you, and it would be perfectly normal for someone to really not be able to do that at all straight away in the session now. But you can use what I'm playing as a relatively good goal to come back to and try and get that speed up to over the space of a few weeks. Like, that would be very realistic if you can't do it right now. If you can do it first time, sometimes that happens too. That's fine. It doesn't mean it also doesn't mean that you're overly special. It just means that there's always like little areas of guitar that different people are like, have superpowers in. And then occasionally some people have superpowers in all of them. I'm not one of those. And then occasionally some people have superpowers in none of them, and it doesn't really matter either way, okay? And the people who have superpowers in all of the beginning stages, believe me, they get stuck like pretty quickly again too. So it's not like it's a real huge benefit. The only real benefit is practicing. All right, so let's do this nice and safe. So bam, bam, danko, ga bam, bam, danko, bam, bam, danko, bam, bam, danko. I need to be a sample on a rap song. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so we're gonna go dun, 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 dun. Good. So the next bit that happens is the same rhythm, but we must now get this C involved. We move the middle finger. So the middle finger goes down. So it starts with a game, which is on the 5th string now. So my thumb has moved. And it plays bum, bum. But it doesn't go daggone again. I don't think. Yeah, it doesn't go daggone again. It goes dum, dum. And then it just picks both of these together. So we're going to move both these fingers together like this, which is a little bit of an odd movement because we're so used to like picking things up. And I'm not going to ask you to move your thumb here. I'm just going to ask you to move these 2 fingers, okay? So this second bit's going dum, dum, bam, dum, dum, bam. A little bit like We Will Rock You. Dum, dum, ka, dum, dum, bam. It's that rhythm. And the 2 fingers are still on strings 2 and 3. And then the last one, when we go to that G chord, it does the same thing as we did on the C chord, which is you play it, and then you go bam, on strings 2 and 3. Bum, bum, bam, bum, bum, bam. All right, cool. So that's something that we're just going to practice that for a few minutes. And just try and get this. And all you want to do with this is find like where you can get up to. And the point at which you are struggling is the point at which you're struggling. So you might at this point go, oh yeah, I'm ready to do the whole loop. Or you might go, I'm just going to do each of those little pieces individually and treat them as 3 separate things and then start stringing them together. So I might go and just try and loop that over and over again. But one of the important things about this is you need to work out exactly where that point is for yourself, because it's impossible for me to do that for you in this format. If we were together, like, well, yeah, I could do that. But it's also healthy for you to be able to try and work that out a little bit or have a go. I can see in this case, Nick is working on it. It looks good. Yeah, good. All right. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a loop now where I just play some of the different parts of it to practice. And then by the end of it, hopefully we'll be kind of having a jam of the whole thing. And you can use this video, like if you're not ready to jam the whole thing today, and I don't know whether Nick will be or not, but I want to get it on here so that when he has the video later this week, he can just fast forward to this point and kind of test out where he's at, see if he got it right and play along until it's like, oh, I can actually do it at that speed, which is cool. And this is a great song because it's like a favorite jam song for a lot of people. So if you know this song and you want to go jam with some friends, this is like the song. I have jammed this song more times than I can even think and remember. So it's a good song to know. All right. So we'll start by doing the D to the C section, and we'll just get a loop of that going of that. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, cool. So now we can do the C to the G, which is where the middle finger is already down. And we're going to focus on, it should go thumb, thumb, and then this movement of these 2 fingers together. It kind of, and in fact, when I'm doing it, I'm not having, like, sometimes I see people trying to do the 2 fingers like separate like this. And actually my fingers are kind of touching each other. They're not rigidly like trying to squeeze each other together. They're just kind of resting on each other and they're playing. And that's a kind of nice thing to do, because then the tendons give each other a bit of strength and you're not having to like fire them separately. Like when you have them touching it, it's easier to get them to happen at the same time. Okay. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. I don't know why I did 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll keep those changes fast. C, G, C, G, C, G. All right, cool. Very good. Should we try and put this whole thing together? See if we can do it. So just a reminder, if I share the screen, this riff is still really, we're kind of changing in the same places, but I want to sing this for you. Do I want to sing? Maybe that's not the right phrase. I am going to sing live on air where those changes happen in the beats, so you can really hear what's happening and where those chord changes are going. So we've got dun, 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 dun is happening over these two beats here. So it's going dun, 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 dun. You don't need to know exactly where. You just need to know kind of we're here, and then we're going to change to C. So dun, 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 3, 4. So on this 3, 4 here, we basically hear silence in this song. So 3, 4. It's not silence, it's you'd hear ringing out of the chord, but it would be okay for you to be changing chord there if it's silent, as long as by that 1 where the D is, we are back there ready to go. So dun, 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 3, 4. That's what we're going to be playing. I'm going to stop sharing screen now, and we're going to do it. The song. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. All right, cool. So that's the song. That's the rhythm we get. And one thing I forgot to say earlier on is if you want to do this with a pick, if you want to do this with a pick, then it's the same picking that you would do. It's just harder because this is quite a difficult picking pattern to do. But I'll give you an example. So you go, you just pick those same strings. Now, it's hard, but I actually think if you're learning to use a pick and fingers side by side, it's not a terrible idea at all for you to practice a little bit of one, a little bit of the other, as much as you enjoy for each of them, because the variation is going to help. And you're going to have to work on the same issues. You're going to have to work on, can I get it in pulse? And really, it's going to make this hand have to become automatic because you're kind of messing around over here doing different variations of how to play it. When I first started playing guitar, I would practice everything on my guitar with the pick, then I play it with fingers, and then I go and try and play it on a bass guitar as well. And when I first became a teacher, I thought that was really dumb of me as a kid. I was like, oh, I should have just practiced the guitar harder and I'd be better at the guitar. Now I know that was wrong, and actually that variation was really helpful for my brain, because science. So I would really recommend try and do a bit of pick, do a bit of fingers, and it's not every variation. Like maybe your teeth is too much, unless you really want to play with your teeth. That, I mean, good for you. But maybe teeth's a little too much. But yeah, so that variation is good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get going. And then once we get a pulse going, the song is going to stay the same. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play different variations of the chord on my guitar, and I want you to keep going. So the only idea of this is it's a little bit like we're jamming. If we were in person, it would make complete sense because we really are jamming and I would be able to hear you. In this, it's like I am the backing track, which is going to move. But I don't want you to get distracted by me. I want you to keep and hold your pulse and your ground and then keep that same thing going. And the reason I do this is because one of the most common things I would ever have when playing guitar or bass is I'd be in a band, and the most likely time that I would think to make a mistake is I would go, huh, that sounds nice. And I'd be like, oh, we sound nice. And the moment I think that sounds nice, I would start making mistakes because it would bring me out of what I was doing. And that, of course, meant that I didn't know the stuff well enough. But it's a really good practice tool. So my only goal here is to kind of try and distract you just a little bit by playing some different chords. And I want you to hold your stuff together and keep going. And this is the value of jamming. This is what happens when people leave their bedroom and they're like, oh, I can play it perfectly. And then you try and play it with someone and you're like, oh, it didn't go so well. And it's because you have this real element of all sorts of thoughts going on at the same time. So let's do some of that. So I'll start off playing exactly the same thing as you, and then I'll play some other stuff, and we'll keep this going for a little while. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep going. If you're lost, here it is again, the original. 3, 4. Keep going. Here we go. All right, now we're going to go as quiet as we can. Like it's 2 a.m. and the neighbors have already told you off once. Keep it nice and quiet. Keep going. 3, 4. we go again. Nice and loud. We don't care what the neighbors say anymore. And finish. All right, cool. Rock and roll. How was that, Nick? How's those fingers?
Well, it kept coming and going, really. I
Yeah.
think it's just a matter of practice, really, now. But yeah, it was good. It's good.
Yeah, good. It's good practice for finger picking. It's a nice little
Yeah,
practicing finger picking.
I would agree.
Very
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah.
What was I
I find it harder with the pick.
Oh, it is much harder with a pick. This is like when I'm playing it with a pick, I'm actually not really playing it with a pick most of the time. I'm still using my fingers. So I play with the pick, and then I would use my fingers 3 and 4. Called hybrid picking. I mean, it's good practice. Certainly, like I was noticing that, like, oh, probably this is not by any means perfect for me. It felt like you can kind of feel when a movement's uncertain. And in the left hand, there's no uncertainty at all. I could do it with my eyes shut, behind my head, anything. The right hand, that pick movement, I'd probably go like, actually, I wouldn't want to do that behind my head because I make mistakes with it. And so it's like a point where you feel like that goes away. So it's difficult, for sure. But very good. All right. So we're really close to the end. And I wanted to, first of all, ask Nick, do you have any questions about you're playing? I'll talk about what to do moving forward in a second for anyone watching. But do you have any questions about anything we've done the last few weeks that I can help you with?
Not really. No, I think it's been very effective, actually. I think possibly one of the reasons I broke through was just doing the 2-finger chords, learning those, and then suddenly when I started doing the 3-finger chords, it wasn't much more difficult at all.
Good. And
then I was checking out things like doing, B and F and stuff like that. Oh, that was horrible, wasn't it? But never mind. I can never remember. Hang on, where's the B? But yeah, no, I mean, it's given me confidence.
Good. I'm really happy. Especially because I know for you, some of the chords are a little bit easier than the ones you've done in the past, but it's actually a nice filler in, and I found using these is very successful for helping anyone with beginner.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
I mean, I've been doing the CG. Name that Roy Orbison songs. Because in Dreams I've always wanted to do, so that's the other one I've been working on, actually. And of course he uses a lot of CG, and yeah, I mean, that's using 4 fingers.
Oh, all 4 of them.
Yeah, the old 4-finger trick. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Good. So let me talk about what I'm doing. So I embarked on this what was originally a 4-week long beginner online, I guess, course. It's 3 lessons that we've been doing, and we've now done 5. So we started with 4 and we're now at 5, and so it's gone rather well. And I'm putting all of these on YouTube. So I know Facebook things get lost, but I'm downloading them, popping them on YouTube. So anyone who wants to go back and watch any of the other 4, I would really encourage you to do that. There's lots of useful stuff in there, and you just play along. You just play along and learn. For the next bit going forward, what is the thing that trips people up in the beginning on the guitar the most? It's persistence. It's kind of just once you get going with it, and once you get some enjoyment out of the guitar, then it's like, I've got a song I can play, and then you're off and away. And that's really it. It's like falling in love with doing it. And I think about how a child, when they're 2, and it's almost not even about, like, it's partially falling in love with doing it. And it's the other half is like just the routine of playing means that you get good. And that routine thing is what I think is the most important thing for the beginning of the guitar. So I think about how, as an adult, if you missed brushing your teeth for a day, that would be like pretty awful. If you missed it for a week, I mean, that would be horrendous. And I can't even imagine such a circumstance happening. But for a 2-year-old child, that would be like normal. That would just be, if you didn't tell a child or who's 2 to 5 years old to brush their teeth or help them brush their teeth, it's very likely not happening. I remember having tantrums as a child about not wanting to brush my teeth and lying. Like, I would lie and say, yes, I brushed them. And then they would check them and somehow they would know, because probably I smelt, and I think about that routine is really important. And so what I am doing next is I've built a 30-day challenge for people to do with guitar. And the entire idea is, as a beginner, it's a 30-day beginner challenge, is to literally play for 30 days in a row. And the only thing that I say is it has to be between 10 to 20 minutes a day, and weekends are optional. So I put weekends in there, but weekends are optional. And the idea is that every single day for 30 days, I am going to email you with what I want you to do on that day. But it's going to build momentum for you so that then you can move forward and continue playing. So that's going to be coming out this week, and it's coming out in my email. So if you're not on receiving emails from me already and you're not on my email list, then you need to contact me, or you need to put a comment wherever you are, on Facebook, on YouTube, and we'll talk to you about how to do that. I know Nick is already getting emails from me, so you'll see that come through anyway. And then throughout it, the fundamental idea is building the habit. And then also I've put in there some of my easiest to digest but very best stuff that I teach with beginners to help. And it's very principle led. So it shouldn't matter what songs you're working or where you're at. It's about, okay, here's a principle, here's how you work on it, and here's what you can do for your practice today for 30 days in a row, 10 to 20 minutes. And then at the end of it, we should see some big changes. And what I'm going to ask people to do who join is to video themselves before and after. And if you lose weight doing it, fantastic, but that's not the idea. Hopefully you'll get better at guitar though. Hopefully that video included some guitar playing is the idea. So yeah, that's what I'm doing next. It starts this week. I'll be emailing on about it. So, but it's going to be an ongoing thing. So if anyone, I think I'm going to close it after this week. So anyone who comes in this week, it'll be closed, but then I'll open it up again once we've been through it once, because the reason I want to close it originally is because I want to test it with people and make sure that everyone gets a really good result out of it. Okay, so you can email me with questions about that or anything you want to daryl@guitartuitioneastlondon.co.uk, which I know is the longest email address in the world. So I forgive you, I'm going to put it in the comments in whatever we're on right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be down below. Or you can just leave a comment somewhere and we'll get back to you. We manage or we kind of monitor all those channels. Otherwise, I've had a super time doing these free sessions. And I don't think I've ever said I've had a super time about anything before, because that's not the language I use. But thank you so much for watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the challenge if you want to do it. Catch you later. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining. Thank you, Karis, for joining.
Thank you. Pleasure.
An absolute pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.